Joining me now to discuss what these protests can tell us about the future of our country is conservative activist CJ Pearson, the president of the Freethinker Project. So CJ, we're starting to see more and more polls of people talking about the idea that they think maybe those in their community may be voting for President Trump, but they just don't want to say it publicly. It's something that they've been calling secret Trump voters. Do you believe that this is a phenomenon that actually does exist?
This is definitely a real phenomenon, my friend. I tell you, the silent majority is indeed real, and there's reason for it. We look across the country at what people have to lose if they have the audacity to think for themselves. If they say they support Donald Trump, they risk being canceled, losing their career, losing their livelihood. There is a very real reason that people are silently but surely supporting the president across the country.
And I think this was even existent back in 2016, maybe to a different degree, but I think that's why so many people got it wrong. I mean, you go out and you ask people who they're voting for, and clearly people were not being upfront, or maybe the polls were just off in their mechanisms, but clearly a lot of the polls were wrong in predicting the 2016 race. And now a lot of people are saying that that might be what's happening once again in 2020. I mean, 538 just came out with their projections. I think it said that Joe Biden has a 71% chance of winning the race. And on the very same day, back in 2016, they said Hillary Clinton had a 71% chance of winning the race. So when we look at what's going on in the news right now, do you think the protests and the unrest on the streets will play a big role for a lot of these people when they go to the ballot box in November?
Most certainly, people have been given a very clear picture of what America would likely look like under a Biden presidency. An America where cities are burning, where racial divide is something that is just ubiquitous. And they have a choice to make. What type of nation will we be? Will we be a nation of lawlessness, or will we be a nation under President Trump of law and order? And I think people, when it comes come November, are going to make a choice to continue the successes that President Trump has encountered over the course of the past 4 years.
And CJ, I think the conversation, too, is representative of the polarization in the country because a lot of people don't talk about the middle ground. For example, if you turn on MSNBC or CNN, you're being told that there's strictly peaceful protests, that there's never any violence, anything like that. But to some degree, too, when you turn on a lot of right-wing networks, they'll say that it's nonstop violence and that there's no legitimate concern for maybe police reforms or for people taking the streets, whatever it may be, where I think most reasonable people know that there's a little bit of nuance. There's a little bit more of a middle ground. But when it comes to the two candidates, it seems like they aren't necessarily taking that path either. They're trying to kind of differentiate each other by drawing these contrasts between one another. So when push comes to shove, do you think the American people are more willing to go to law and order than they are for the chaos that they're seeing on the streets in the name of police reforms?
Yeah, most certainly. I don't think any American wants to live in a country where people feel as if they can just burn down a Wendy's because they're upset, or set things on fire, burn Bibles, and very much more. I think people, that's not what America was founded to be. We were a nation that was founded for peaceful protests and the free exchange of ideas, but not the freedom to vandalize and burn down businesses that don't belong to you. And I think that is on the minds of many voters. People just don't feel safe in an America ran by leftists. You look at cities like Portland, where the police were literally told to stand down rather than defend all that those local business owners had worked for. That is not an America that any American truly wants to live in, and I think that they're going to make that clear come November.
And this whole situation is made even more ironic, if you will, acknowledging that Kamala Harris is the person that was added to the VP ticket because she's someone who has kind of shifted in her beliefs over the years. I mean, during the Democratic primary season, she wasn't progressive enough. I remember Tulsi Gabbard going after her, saying that she had a very harsh record of being a prosecutor in San Francisco and throughout the state of California. But then she took over in the Senate, and she's been really a progressive champion. I mean, she's been one of the most progressive individuals when it comes to voting, maybe than anyone else, including Senator Bernie Sanders. So I think she has seen this moment coming. She's been preparing for her to be on the VP slot, or if not the presidential ticket herself. What do you think the addition of Kamala Harris and this whole issue altogether says about the election?
And it just really goes to show that the far left has taken over the Democrat Party. Kamala Harris, I will tell you, is just a chameleon. She's willing to do whatever it takes to achieve power. She literally said that Joe Biden was a sexual predator. She said she believed his accusers. She said that he was a racist because he supported segregation and opposed busing. And now, apparently, those things just don't matter. She is willing to serve in the administration of someone who she believes, because she said she believed the accusers inappropriately touched a woman, and also is a racist. It's not even a personal thing. It's about integrity. I don't think that we need anyone in the White House who is willing to say that I am willing to support a sexual predator as long as I get to be VP. It's disgusting, and it's politics at its lowest.
And I think that she answered that question for herself, too. She was asked about that very issue, about what she meant when she said that, whether or not she takes it back. And her response, I believe it was on Stephen Colbert, she said that that's politics. So she's kind of showing the idea that she was making a political move in order to try to get to the top. So I think a lot of people are seeing that it was kind of an opportunistic type of thing for her to do during the primary, but I guess here she is on the ticket, so it did work out to some degree. But CJ Pearson, I appreciate you coming on the show tonight and breaking down the convergence of these two issues. Thank you.